Did everybody hear that? All right, we're going to get started in about 1 minute.
Recording in progress.
Okay, I'm going to wait for another minute or two. There's a lot of people popping on right now, so we're just going to wait for another minute or two.
It's your boy, Ed Ridgway.
All right, as soon as we go 30 seconds without a bing, I'm going to get the meeting started, but we've just added 10 people in the past minute.
A lot of new names, Ed. This is great to see everybody. This is a big vacation week too. It's great to see so many folks.
Yeah, I think we have a few people logging in from out of town. Okay, we're going to get started. I'm going to stop sharing this for a second. Let me know when you guys can see my face in front of the tunnel. Oh, good. Okay. All right, we're going to get started here. For anybody who I don't know, my name is Ed Ridgway, and my wife and I are real estate agents here in Narberth. And I've been running the Narberth Business Association for the last, I don't know, a lot of years. And one of the things I do for the Business Association is I run or help run all of our events. And as you all know, just recently, the Narberth 4th of July Committee has retired. And so the Narberth Business Association is going to try and take on some of the new events. We're going to talk about, our tentative plan to make that happen. Just some rules for the meeting here. I'm going to ask everybody that everyone stay in mute. We have, I don't know, 40, 50 people on this meeting right now, and we could have more. We've invited more. So it'll just be easier for everyone and be more respectful for everyone's time if we can do that. So if you do have a question or if you do have a comment, put it in the chat, and we'll be watching the chat, and we'll try and answer your question if we can. And if not, we'll get to you later in email. This is the beginning of the process today. Today's not the end of anything. This is the beginning. Okay, so I'm going to switch away from my screen and put up and share this other screen I have open here. Okay, success. Okay, good. All right, so okay, so starting at the beginning. Sometimes sometimes it seems like Narberth, the borough of Narberth, runs a lot of events, a lot of fun events and activities, but Narberth doesn't really run any events. What happens is Narberth has a lot of residents and locals in the community who in their organizations run these events, and the borough lends as much support as the borough can, but the borough is busy running the borough, and the borough government is handling core functions of government, not handling the events. And that's one of the things that people like me have been doing over the years, and some of the other people on this call have been doing over the years. And so the two of the big organizations that have run many of the annual events that you all know are the Narberth Business Association, which is a private organization of many of the Narberth businesses, and my treasurer for the Narberth Business Association is Tracy Tumalo, who most of you know from Sweet Mabel. And Tracy and I have been the officers for a number of years for the Business Association running these events. But a lot of the other events are run by the 4th of July Committee, or were run by the 4th of July Committee, a group of really dedicated locals who put, a lot of time and energy into these events. And, they got to the point where they'd given as much as they could give, and they passed them on. And that's one of the reasons we're at the point where we are right now. The Business Association events and the 4th of July Committee, there's a number of events. We'll get to some specifics in a minute, but we think it will be a much more sustainable system if we don't rely on a few people to do these things, but if we share it amongst a larger group of people, that way we can keep our traditions going. We have a better shot at keeping them going. And the ones that we love and we can't do without, well, we can make them happen. And that's what we're trying to do here. As you can see on that slide there, I have a couple other groups named. The Memorial Day Parade, the 4th of July Committee always helped with the Memorial Day Parade. And so, that may be something that we can, since we have this large pool of volunteers now, that we can pick up and be the helpers for that parade. The Take a Breather Foundation runs the Narberth Run. I know they're always looking for volunteers. So certainly if we have a bunch of volunteers, we can let them know, and we can certainly communicate with our volunteers when they need help to help them out. The Narberth Civic Association, they don't need our help they don't need us to form committees to run their events. They're quite capable of running their own events, but that's another group. They run Narberth Day and some other events. We may be able to help them too. But the core events that we're talking about today are these events. These are the events that have been run either by the Narberth Business Association or by the 4th of July Committee. And as you can see, it's a lot of events. I mean, and that's one of the things, that Narberth has become known as a place where, on a holiday, there's something fun happening here. It's a place that we've become known as a place that has events and activities, and there's no reason why that has to stop. Now, hopefully, our COVID situation will improve. The events that we're going to talk about in the near future are all outdoor events, but hopefully we get to a point where we can do all of our events, and most of them are outdoor events anyway. So as you can see from this list, I just want to go through it because these are the ones that we're talking about. These are the events that we are looking to continue. And you can see that the ones in green are the ones the Business Association has been doing. The Leprechaun Hunt, Narberth Month, the Sidewalk Festivals, the Dog Parade, the Music and Arts Festivals, which happen in June and September, Oktoberfest, the adult scavenger hunt is something that we're partners in running this scavenger hunt. We're partners in running the Oktoberfest. The Witches of Narberth scavenger hunt for the kids, and the Narberth Dickens Festival. The events that now, none of us in our group have run before, that the 4th of July committee ran, are the Easter egg hunt, the Wednesday night concerts in the park, the big one, the 4th of July, the daytime carnival and the nighttime fireworks, the Halloween parade, and then the Santa celebrations in the spring. That second one at the firehouse, I assume is done in conjunction with the fire department, and the 4th of July committee helps with that one. I think. I'm not certain about that one, but certainly, if we want to keep those Santa events going, that's a pretty achievable goal. That's not those aren't some of the more complicated events. Just trying to switch my slide here. Oh, here we go. So anyway, this is what we're looking for. One very important element to events are what I'm calling the game day crews. And those are the people that you see during the day when you go to one of these events. When you go to the fireworks and somebody's standing there holding a bucket asking for a donation, or when you do the dunking booth and somebody takes your ticket and somebody hands you a prize. Those are all volunteers. And for the larger events, we need a big pool of volunteers. And those are really important. And everybody on this list, I imagine in some way, this is going to be the core group of people who we turn to when we're having an event and say, okay, who's in town for, who's in town the Saturday before St. Patrick's Day weekend? We need 4 people to run the Leprechaun Hunt booth. We need 4 people to hand out the little black cauldrons and then hand out the prizes to the kids when it's done. And believe me, it's work. It's definitely work, and it's a commitment. But that's the fun stuff. The day of the event, that's the best part. That's a whole lot of fun. And I've never seen anyone who regretted being part of that, whether a 4th of July volunteer, which seems to me, that's, could be over 100 people, take part on that particular day, to, even the smallest of the events is going to need a game day crew. And all of us, and when we put out the call, which some of you probably saw it on Facebook or heard about it and gave us your email address, we put out the call and said, hey, who wants to be part of the solution to how we keep these things going? And all of you people on this call raised your hand. And it's not just the people who made the call tonight. At this count, we have more than 200 people who have given their names for the email list, and we are the start of this, this core group that will be contacted when there's an event, so that we always have enough people to run events on the day of. So that's part of it. But the next part of it, and the really important part, and the part I want to talk about a little bit right now, is the planning committees. Because, even the smallest event starts with some planning weeks or months ahead. And the big events, like 4th of July or a Dickens Festival, start many, many months before. I mean, the 4th of July committee, they would meet right after the event and talk about what went right, what went wrong. And that's the beginning of the planning for the next event 12 months later. So, an event like that is big, and it's a lot of responsibility. Fortunately for that big event, we already have a couple of leaders who have stepped forward and said they will lead the 4th of July committee. Now we need to create a committee of people and maybe it won't be called the 4th of July committee because there already was one. We'll call it something else. But we have our 2 leaders, and we will build a committee that will lead that event. And we want to do it similar to the way we've had some success already with creating these committees. Like I said, we have our 2 leaders for the 4th of July. So, that's on its way. I am volunteering to continue my role in leading the Dickens Festival. So I will lead that committee or help lead that committee. We'll see who joins me and where we go with that one. Cindy Rickards runs the adult scavenger hunt, and Krista Staub from the Friends of Sabine Park. She partners with us, and Jeff Gambino partners with the Business Association to do the Oktoberfest. So we have a committee started for that. And a real good model for what we're trying to do here is what we did a couple years ago with the music festivals. We have the music and art festivals twice a year in June and September, and they used to always be run by Teresa Decker, who a lot of you know. She was a manager down at McShay's. She started a new business, didn't have time to run them anymore. So as sometimes happens when there's something that needs to be done, I raise my hand, even if I don't have time to do it, and I try to do it. I couldn't do it by myself, but fortunately, like this situation we're in right now, there were a number of people who stepped up and said, yeah, we're going to help. And so Megan Bowe leads that committee, and she has done a great job for the last, I'm not sure how many her committee has run now, but the recent ones have all been run by her committee, and she doesn't have to do it by herself because Tracy Tumalo stepped up and she handles all the vendors, and Dan Gold from Danny's Guitars, he stepped up and he handles the music. So between the 3 of them, it's a very manageable task. And so that's a good model for what we're trying to do for these other events. If we get a group of people to run each event, then we don't have anyone getting burned out and having to retire. All the work gets done, spread through a number of people. So just one thing I want to tell you about these committees, because we're going to ask everybody on this call and everybody who's not on this call whose email we have, we're going to ask them, like, which of these committees can you be part of? Where can you throw some time? You don't have to do all of them. Pick one thing that you want to. And the committees themselves, they decide when they need to meet, how often they need to meet, how they want to do it. They can do it in the morning. They can do it by telephone. They can meet down at Borough Hall and handle it any way they want. We don't want this to just be a top-down structure where we tell you what to do. But what we want to do is we want to create a situation where even if you've never run an event in Narberth before, run any event at all, we can help you to learn how to do that. We can be a resource for you. I plan to be part of every committee at the beginning, just so you learn some of the things, like how to work with the borough, how to get construction barriers, how to get the SEPTA buses to stop coming down the street if you need to close the street. When can you close the street? All the questions that you don't know the answer to just because you've never run an event. We want to help people do that, but we don't want to force people to do it their own way. If somebody says, hey, I want to run the Easter egg hunt and I have an idea for a better way to do it, great. We are all on board for new ideas and fresh ideas, and we don't have to do, there are no rules. We make the rules as we go along. The way it's going to work is once we have a committee together, the event will go on the calendar and it will be part of the, it'll be planned. It'll be on the Narberth online calendar, which is the online calendar we keep of all the events. Until we have a committee, it can't go on the calendar because, we're not ready for that one. But, it may be that, it's possible. I'll use it as the example again, the Easter egg hunt. Maybe there's just not enough people right now who want to do the Easter egg hunt. Maybe that goes on the hiatus. It doesn't have to go away forever. Maybe the year after that, somebody says, I can't live without the Easter egg hunt. And they're the impetus to get it started again. So what I want everyone to do is, let me see, I think I have one more slide here. What I want everybody to do is we're going to send out a questionnaire after this meeting. We're going to email everybody a questionnaire. We just want you to tell us, which of these events that Narberth does, which of these are your jam? I mean, which of these are the ones that you want to be part of? It can be more than one if you want, the planning doesn't have to take forever. Some of the planning roles are smaller, but we're going to ask everybody to pick something and let us know so that we can start to put all these events back on the calendar. And we'll let you know. I mean, if you don't get your first choice, maybe we give you your second choice, or maybe we say, hey, we need some more people for the leprechaun hunt, or we need some more people for the dog parade, and we kind of swap. And you can tell us, to pick something for you if you want, and we'll pick something for you. I'll assure you, you won't regret it. It's a lot of fun. It's going to be a time commitment, of course, but it's worth making time for. I mean, you're all on this call tonight because there's something that you don't want to die. There's a tradition that you want to keep going, and so so we're trying to create a structure for that to happen. So I saw that there was one chat question. Did that get answered, Cindy?
I do not see any chats. Ed, that was actually a message from me to you to say, and don't forget you have to coordinate with the borough for logistics. And as I typed, you said it.
Okay. All right. So you were the chat. Okay. If anybody has a question now, I don't want to keep everybody forever. It's like I want to be respectful of your time because it's, this is spare time, what we call this, as if any of us have spare time. But that's what this is. I don't want to waste anybody's time. So if anybody has a question right now, we can add another minute or two to answer your question, and then we'll just wrap it up. I wanted to make this a half-hour meeting.
And I have one here from Melanie saying, what if you have an idea for a new event? Can they go through you, Ed, and the NBA?
Yeah, so I would say if you have an idea for a new event, certainly flesh out the idea as much as you can and be prepared to be the committee chair for that event. And if you can do those two things, then we will try to put a committee around you and put a team together, and we'll try and fit it into the calendar.
And keep in mind, for example, the Narberth Cycling Club has, 4 events that are outside of the NBA umbrella, but very strategically support a local event when, they ride to the Get Cafe and patronize that business as well. So there are groups that are doing events not listed here as well.
Yeah, and that was an oversight on my part not to mention them. But if they needed, I will certainly let them know. If they need volunteers, we can certainly reach out to our group of volunteers, and we can reach out to and let people know, because I think sometimes a volunteer job doesn't get filled because not everyone knows that the job is out there, that the job needs to be filled. And that's what this system is all about. We want to have a pool of volunteers that we can reach out to, and between all of us, we can make it all happen.
I do have 2 more questions. The first is Linda Pitt asking, what are the events that need a committee?
Yeah, let me go back.
And
so I would say right now, we could probably, I would say the music and arts festivals don't need a committee right now. But if you are dying to be part of that, let us know, because, there's an exception to every rule. But pretty much everything else on this calendar, you could be part of the committee if you wanted. They all need committees, except for the Music and Arts Festival, which already has a functioning committee. And we'll let you know if we want to add someone else to that committee. Certainly the Music and Arts Festival is going to need volunteers on the day of, for setting up tents and tables and chairs and, clean up and that kind of stuff.
And we have Chris McLeod. Can the Halloween parade be held during the afternoon or on a weekend? I suspect that'll be up to the committee to decide.
Yeah, certainly. The committee's going to decide that, whoever the committee is for the Halloween parade. Right now, the Halloween parade, is a good example of, that's an event that the Business Association has never run. I've personally been part of the event. I understand what it is. I understand, what it could be. So if someone on this call or someone on our email list says they want to, or someone's say they want to be part of the Halloween parade, that group will decide what it is. I was thinking for this year, if you want to get on an event soon and quick, the 4 events that I would like to see happen this year, I would like to see a music festival on September 12th. We already have some people working on that. I would like to see an Oktoberfest on October 2nd. We have some people working on that. I would like to see a October 30th Witches of Narberth scavenger hunt. I think that's very doable to make that happen. But because it's on October 30th, which is the day that the parade is usually on, it's a Saturday, and Halloween this year is a Sunday. That may be something where we could put a parade element on the scavenger hunt. Like the kids do the hunt and then they parade down the street or something like that for this particular year. But to answer your question, Chris, the committee will decide what that is. And anybody who has strong opinions about how that should be should, this is a great opportunity to, if you think there's an improvement, to make that improvement.
Ned, I think you just answered Amanda and Claire's questions of, do we still have time to organize autumn events, and what's the strategy to prioritize events?
Yeah, and so those are the events that I definitely want to make happen. And those are the events that I've started kind of the wheels turning to try and make them happen. I've started, some of the basic groundwork to try and make those 4 happen. And again, there were Music Festival, Oktoberfest, Witches of Narberth Scavenger Hunt, and Dickens Festival. Out of those 4, the Oktoberfest has a few moving parts, but the big one is the Dickens Festival. And if we get enough people working on that Dickens Festival, it'll be very doable.
Ed, I got a comment just saying, I'm sure you're aware, but I see Bruce Warren's in here, and XPN has always been really kind and generous with music, and writes, and they're just really nice too. And I think that brings up a good point of just really leveraging the resources and specialties and areas of expertise in the community. Is there a way that if somebody says, I actually have this kind of unique talent or something to bring to the table, how can folks communicate that to you?
Yeah, so on this questionnaire, there may be some room on this questionnaire to add comments or a question or something like that. And just email back to, I'm not sure if we have an email address specifically for the volunteers. I'm not sure if we created that email address, but until I figure that out, you can, Aaron, do we have an email address?
We do not have a reflector email address just for volunteers, but we do have that mailing list on MailChimp, and
okay, so
I can broadcast information that way.
Okay, yeah, and so for right now, if you want to ask us a question, we'll create an email address just for this group for purposes of these kind of questions. But for right now, send any question or comment or anything you need to get to us to narberthonline@gmail.com. And I'll get that, and I'll make sure that the right people get to see it.
Sure.
But that question about Bruce Warren, I mean, that brings up a good point. Bruce, and like I said before, Danny Gold at Danny's Guitars, and Baron Chandler, and we have a number of people, and Josh Millman. We have a number of people who have musical connections that I think, they could form themselves into an informal music committee to help us, because we have music in a number of our things. We have these Wednesday night concerts, we have the music festivals, we always have a band at the Oktoberfest. Like if we had, if there was a group of people inclined to be kind of our music gurus, that would be helpful in a number of events. And certainly anyone who wants to volunteer for that, I'm not volunteering any of those people. I'm just using them as examples of people I know who know more about music than I do. And, that would be a better job for them than me.
And we have a great question. Johanna, thank you for asking this. I know some people who'd rather give money than time. Are you also running a GoFundMe or something similar to cover costs?
Yeah, we're definitely going to have opportunities for people to donate. We haven't set that up yet, but we already have PayPal set up. So if nothing else, we can use one of our PayPal links so that people can donate, and we will create right now. we're still working out some of the specifics, but I think we will have the business association will have a special account that becomes an event account. And the business association also is going to try and cover some major expenses. Maybe, we'll see what the borough can help out with. But one of the things is liability insurance for these events. The business association will get the insurance so that we can cover these different events, including events we've never covered before.
Next question, will there be a page on a website or social media where this is available? And can you say that email again, Ed?
Yeah, so that email is narberthonline@gmail.com. So narberthonline.com is probably going to be the place where most of this stuff is, because it's the business association website, and we'll create a page on there. If you don't know, narberthonline.com has a calendar of all the events in town. It also imports the borough's official calendar. It has a business directory, has a lot of information. It has information about every event that we do. A lot of it needs to be updated. We haven't run an event in ages, but that will be the place. And there, right now there's a page there called narberthonline.com/volunteers, and that's where you all signed up and gave us your email address. We'll have pages there. We'll have volunteer pages there so that you can get all the information you need. Anything else, Sin?
Nope, that's about all with questions.
Okay, let's see how we're doing on time. All right, well, it's 7:31. Listen, I don't want to make meetings for the sake of making meetings. I don't want to have a ton of meetings. I don't want to make them last a long time. Thank you all for coming. Look in your email for this questionnaire. Tell your friends and neighbors who couldn't make this meeting that we're underway. We're started. We're going to make this happen. And there's no reason why we can't, continue all these traditions, bigger and better than ever. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Ed.
I recorded the meeting, so I'm going
Then
to
why don't you stop recording?
I think let me see.